The room is laid out as a Soviet-era school classroom, with the Lenin corner being in the far corner of the room from the door so that it is out of the way of traffic through the door. There are many, very close together, spaced desks facing a large green blackboard. In the chairs, we see non-uniformed children, huddled closely together, facing the teacher. Noting this, we can now turn and focus on the Lenin corner. A Lenin corner was a propaganda-filled, literal corner of a schoolroom, quite like the icon corners in Orthodox Christianity. Within these corners, there was an amalgamation of children-oriented propaganda and photos of the first leader of the Soviet Union, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin. The Lenin corner will feature all of the photos within it hung up on the wall in the corner in a variety of different sizes. These corners were compiled by each individual schoolroom, typically by the educator, but sometimes even included hand drawings by the students related to Leninism, Stalinism, and propaganda. No two Lenin corners were the same, but their purpose was universally to glorify Stalinist principles, the legacy of Lenin in the framework of Soviet propaganda, and the important role of children in continuing the status quo. There will be a stool in the Lenin corner that will allow the young children to climb up on it to get a better view of the photos depicting Soviet principles in the corner. This is interesting, as children who are not even old enough to be able to see these posters without assistance will have access to them as one of the first things that they are learning how to read and, subsequently, as part of the classroom. The first picture of note in this corner is a close-up portrait of Joseph Stalin, the current leader of the USSR at the time, embracing a young child in a rather loving gesture. The photograph is titled Friend of the Little Children and is dated to the year 1936. Following this, the next image is of Vladimir Lenin, the first leader of the Soviet Union, after which these corners are named, taken in 1917. Following this, there is a brightly colored illustration of 3 model children in the eyes of the Soviet government, dressed in the uniforms of the young pioneers and saluting the Soviet government. It is titled Long Live Pioneers, and it is dated to the year 1939. Lastly, there is a glorifying sketch of Lenin's portrait once again. This is overlain with the phrase, Lenin в 1980 году, which translates to English as Lenin in the year 1918. It was also created in 1918. Because the last of these 4 dates for the posters, 1936, 1917, 1939, and 1918, is 1939, this is the date to which I have given this space. Back to the propaganda, all of these pieces play a similar role to the role of propaganda in the nursery. Lenin corners serve as one of the primary methods by which children are introduced to the Soviet party machine. This is important for recruiting young children into the Young Pioneers, which recruit from the ages of 9 to 14, and then after this, into the Komsomol, which recruits between the ages of 15 and 28. Even apart from this, growing up with these positive influences on Leninism and communism is important in terms of indoctrination and obedience.